Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm a firm believer that a strong qualitative research should always have a pluralistic approach.
And I'm Dee, and I disagree.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have a small debate about which approach is the best way to go about conducting qualitative research.
And by the end of this, we're really hoping that because we're not going to include loads of references and everything, and we're going to talk like normal Joe Soaps, that you'll have a pretty good idea of the pros and cons of pluralistic qualitative research.
So, I think one of the strongest factors in supporting a pluralistic approach to qualitative research is that it provides such a sense of flexibility to the researcher. It allows it to totally ebb and flow in whatever direction that the research is going in, and it doesn't lock the researcher down to one specific genre.
Yeah, but Emily, that's great, and yes, it does do that. But what it also does, it potentially you could use two different qual methods to analyse data, and you could end up with very different conflicting results. So where does that leave you then as a researcher?
But that's one of the strongest things about pluralism, is that it does give you the likelihood of varying different outcomes. But that's not to say that any of these outcomes is less reliable or less important than any of the other ones. And it actually gives us various view of the different viewpoints that you could pull from the different data set.
Yeah, but then that brings you onto like a very kind of basic disadvantage of it, because okay, so you want to do, we'll say, 3 different types of analysis on something, but in order to do that you really need to have like skilled people who know what they're doing. So what happens if I want to carry out research using 3 different types of analysis, and I'm only really good at one or skilled enough at one to do it properly?
Again, it challenges the researcher to engage in other methods of research that they normally wouldn't bother with, and it encourages them to reflect on them and their learning and how they influence the data sets. And it actually encourages them to work as a part of a team and to work as a part of other researchers and to pull from other people's knowledge within the team.
So what you're saying is that for some research you're actually going to need a team of people to carry out pluralism correctly.
Well, yeah, that's always a possibility, but most research is done as a part of a team anyway.
Oh yeah, and I suppose there's always resources there to to do that, is there?
Well, yeah, that's one of the factors that you have to allow for, but that's when pluralism is really important, because it focuses on the multiple strengths of the different research approaches. And yeah, I know what you're saying about the resources, but when the resources are there, a pluralistic approach is one of the best way to go about it.
But you said at the start, does good qualitative research, should all good qualitative research be pluralistic? So are you saying so that if you don't have the resources and you don't have the time and you don't have the skill set, that if you do qualitative research and it's not pluralistic, that it's not good research?
Well, it sounds to me like we're saying the same thing, that all good qualitative research, if it's possible, should be pluralistic. That if the resources are there, if the skill set, whether you're in your own skill set as a researcher or as a part of a team, you have those skill set available to you and you have the time, then a pluralistic approach is the best way about it.
And don't forget, it must fit the research question.
So that's our point. That's our view on the matter. What do you guys think?